we'll start with Andre Drummond first. So with Drummond, the Cavs are focusing on Jarrett Allen being the team's main big man moving forward for their future. And it means that Andre Drummond is going to be on the chopping block and he's going to be on the move to a new team. So there are a few suitors that are vying for him at this current moment in time. You've got the Brooklyn Nets, the Toronto Raptors, and the Dallas Mavericks. They are all interested in possibly acquiring him. And all three of these teams could use Andre Drummond just because all of these teams really suffer from their defense suffers to a large extent because they don't have somebody that can protect the rim and then just get rebounds. Someone like Andre Drummond would be a perfect replacement to help them defensively. Now, the interesting thing with Andre Drummond is whether or not that he's going to be moved in the trade market or the buyout market. Because if you look at somebody like the Nets here, the Nets are probably going to have to acquire him through the buyout market because I don't think they have the requisite number of pieces to actually get a trade done with the Cavs. I mean, they traded half of their team away to acquire James Harden just a month ago. So there's going to have to be an agreement between Drummond and how this whole situation is going to work out with his contract to buy him out. It's going to be interesting to see how that whole dynamic ends up working out if he ends up going through the buyout market. But I will say this. The Raptors and the Mavericks are in a far better position to trade for Drummond via trade because they actually have what I would say a decent amount of depth on their team to actually make a trade work here. And I can't really say that one team's in a better position than the other. I'm just saying that both of these teams, in the Raptors and the Mavericks, have a better number of pieces to actually give to Cleveland in a trade if they were actually to make that happen. So, I mean, I saw that Shams was reporting that the Raptors are in active talks to acquire Andre Drummond. Obviously, we'll see what happens over the next couple of days or so. I mean, he could be moved as early as this week. I think they're still probably going to work out some trade packages for him. So definitely expect the Cavs to start ramping up the trade propositions for Andre Drummond at this point. But it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. If it were up to me, I don't know why, I highly suspect that he's going to end up on the Nets. And if you really do add Andre Drummond to that team, I may have to reassess my opinion on the Nets being the odds-on favorite to be the finals favorite at this point. But we kind of have to see how it goes. It's just my gut feeling is that he's going to end up on the Brooklyn Nets at this current moment in time. But we'll see how it goes over these next couple of days or so. And then with Blake Griffin is in a very similar situation that Andre Drummond is in. He is not playing right now, and basically the Detroit Pistons and Blake Griffin have agreed to keep him out of the lineup until they find some sort of trade package that can send him hopefully to a title contending team at this point. So if you look at Blake Griffin at this point, look, he's clearly not the same player that he was when he was playing for the Clippers, when it was Lob City with him and DeAndre Jordan. Those days of Blake Griffin's career, they're long gone. Really, the major issue that Blake has been dealing with the last couple seasons are injuries. And it's really pertained to his knee and his hamstrings. I believe he got surgery on his knee about a year and a half ago. And he just hasn't been the same since. He's really been struggling with Detroit. And Detroit is going through a major rebuild right now. And the Pistons are actually doing him a favor at this point by moving him because they know somebody of Blake Griffin's caliber shouldn't be subjected to a rebuild like this that's going on in Detroit. And they're going to move him hopefully to a decent team. So look, there are a few issues with Blake Griffin besides the injuries. It's the fact that he's getting paid a solid amount of money moving forward. I mean, this year alone, he's making upwards of $35 to $36 million this year, and then he's getting $38 million next year. That's definitely going to be a tough sell for some teams that are interested in Blake Griffin, either via trade or via buyout, similar to Andre Drummond. Now, there's definitely going to be suitors for for Blake Griffin moving forward. I don't mean to imply that there won't be. It's just that there may be a good chance that whoever picks up Blake Griffin, they may revert him to coming off the bench, or maybe just focus on him being a decent role player on the starting five. I think really the main thing that Blake has to focus on at this point is just getting back to 100% health. If he goes to a new team, possibly a title contending team, something like that can definitely revitalize Blake Griffin's career. I don't know if he's ever going to get back to what he was with the Clippers, but he could be a very serviceable piece moving forward. It really just depends if he can get back to 100% health at this point. And that is pretty much paramount for Blake at this point in his career. So, I mean, look, he needs to get out of Detroit. I mean, Detroit is really one of the worst teams in the NBA. They're not really going anywhere. They're not contending for titles anytime soon. And I think at this point, it's just best to get Blake Griffin out of there. And the Pistons are doing him a solid by getting him out of there and try to work out some sort of trade package to get him out of there.